Open world games have been the staple of this console generation, giving players humongous lands to explore and play in. To the developers on these games, bigger is better, which has resulted in vast maps that could take a lifetime to explore. Here are the top 10 biggest maps of this console generation. Keep in mind, this list is based on how big the open world is, not necessarily on the quality of the game itself. Coming in at number 10 is Fallout 4, with a map size of 3.82 square miles. Bethesda has built a legacy upon the huge worlds that they have crafted, all of which feature deep lore and gripping plots to play through. This open world epic is not actually as large as you might have previously thought. Reddit user BreadburyMan measured the game's explorable area within the map's red boundary and discovered the size of the overworld was just 3.82 square miles. Featuring a map of 14.79 square miles, this other Bethesda classic beats out its brother in this regard. As far back as 2002 with Morrowind, critics have been lauding the Elder Scrolls franchise for its unprecedented scope, and Skyrim continued to set the benchmark when it was first launched 10 years later. Fast forward to present day, however, and Skyrim's once considered huge open world is not as big compared to other games as you might have thought. Coming in at number 8 is Far Cry 4. Ubisoft developers are open world specialists with experience building vast sandboxes since the very first Assassin's Creed game. Its latest mainline entry to the Far Cry franchise is quoted at a very respectable 17.7 square miles, especially considering how dense the map is with quests and animals to hunt. Number 7 is The Witcher 3. Thanks to the density of side quests, tons of contracts, the depth of the main questline, and 2 massive expansions, The Witcher 3 is one enormous 150 to 250 hour experience. In fact, it is one of the largest single-player games by quest number ever made. Because there is not just one huge world but a number of smaller zones, the figure of 20.8 square miles came from combining every playable zone in the game. The first truly open-world Zelda game has been a resounding success, universally acclaimed by critics and resonating with its fans. Of course, now that the franchise has reached the open-world space, gamers want to know exactly where it registers on the scale in comparison to benchmark franchises such as the Elder Scrolls series. Well, Breath of the Wild might not be the biggest open world game, but it is certainly no slouch either, clocking in at 28.9 square miles. Even though it isn't further up on this list, players felt that this map was actually smaller than previous games like San Andreas. Grand Theft Auto 5's map is actually the largest map of any Rockstar game, clocking in at a crazy 31 square miles. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag eclipses the size of the previous entries on our list with its massive Caribbean sandbox, clocking in at 111 square miles. Sure, the map is mostly open sea and small desolate islands, but towns like Kingston and Havana are fairly dense main centers. Whoever said that the Wii U was a weak console? Xenoblade Chronicles X comes in at number 3 by dwarfing many contemporary RPGs famed for their scale, measuring in at an enormous 154 square miles. Granted, much of that is a barren and rather featureless terrain, but it does make up for a fine playground for boosting around in skells. The runner-up on this list is Ghost Recon Wildlands, boasting a huge open world of 170.2 square miles, featuring mountain ranges, beaches, deserts, and everything else that you would want out of an open world game. Ghost Recon Wildlands not only gives you a huge world to explore, but also layers on a bunch of variety to go along with it. If you have the game and ever feel like wanting to walk across the entire map, I would personally recommend taking the helicopter. If you are into open world games, you probably saw this one coming, as Just Cause 3 tops this list off. We have talked about a bunch of huge map sizes, but everything pales in comparison to this game. Square Enix's bonkers open world action game is a mind-blowing 400 square miles. It is worth remembering that much of this Mediterranean setting is deep blue sea, but even still, the fact that one can travel such a distance without experiencing a single loading screen is very, very impressive. Just to put the size into context, if you were to walk from one side of the map to the other in Just Cause 3, it would take you 8 hours. And there you have it, the top 10 biggest open world games of this console generation. These games do beg the question though, does a bigger world mean a better game? Be sure to voice your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you are not yet subscribed, you should, as we have much more content on the way. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.